When to disclose your HIV status, that's what we're talking about. Here's a chat I had with two TikTokers a little while back for Plus Talk.
I'm curious for both of you, and I'll start with you, direct it to you first, Bianca, but both chime in, please. Just on the general topic of disclosure, you know, we have this amazing science, U equals U, you know, undetectable equals untransmittable. There's no reason anyone should fear me because I'm living with HIV sexual partners or otherwise, right? So, great. That means that if I don't really want to disclose because I'm presenting zero risk to somebody, it's my business. Why should I? Why should I have to? But on the flip side of that, we also have things in this country like criminalization laws. So while we're encouraging people to be out and proud and U equals U and I'm HIV positive and I can't transmit the virus, oh, but you could turn around in 6 months and go, they never told me, and I could end up going to jail and being on a sex offenders list. What's your sort of position on whether, because I feel like the onus is always on me, right? I chose to withhold my status until I got to know the person. And then, whoops, I guess I'd left it too late because now the person thinks I'm a liar or can't be trustworthy, even though it's my information to share. Bianca, what's your take on when and how and whether we should and whose onus it is, you know?
Okay, so that's a very deep and loaded question. I will say that I will try to answer it to the best of my ability, but there's certain things that are still there's still many changes, and although we have progressed a lot, there's still a lot of things that still need some tweaking and changing. So in my personal opinion, when it comes to disclosure and when people DM me or email me or even ask me questions about disclosure, I always tell people that disclosure is about you. It's not so much about them as much as it is about you. You disclose because you want to disclose. You disclose because you feel safe to disclose. You do not have to disclose to every Joe Schmuck or whomever you meet on the street because it's not their business. And so I don't believe that in this high moral ground of disclosure because I understand how scary it is to disclose. But I also see on the flip side how dangerous it could be to not disclose. So you really have to, it's kind of like tiptoeing. It's definitely a dance. You have to, and also an internal feeling, I would say, about how safe you feel. And there's different things that we go through as people that are HIV positive, like where are you going to disclose, to whom, why, and what are you trying to get out of it, to be honest, because if you're looking for someone to approve of you because of your disclosure, then you're looking at it in a different capacity. And just because you disclose does not mean that someone is entitled to or needs to accept you because of your brave honesty. Remember, this is about you. You are being real and honest about who you are as a person. And that is the only thing that can matter. Because if we start disclosing just so that someone else can accept us, we're not really living authentically. We're still relying on another person to affirm our identity. And so when it comes, another thing about disclosure that a lot of people do not, more so about sex health in general, I do believe that it is one person's own responsibility. Their own sex health is their responsibility. The way that I was infected, I was intentionally infected. Not only was I blacked out drunk when I met the guy that infected me, it's a long story, Stockholm syndrome. We ended up in a relationship and I came to find out that he infected me and countless other women with HIV. And so it could be very easy for me to blame him. And of course he did a horrible thing in doing that. But also I understand my part in, you know, not having a deeper discussion. Maybe I shouldn't have been blacked out drunk. There's so many things that could have happened in that I had control over, right? That could have changed the outcome of what ended up happening throughout the course of those events. And so when I talk about HIV and disclosure, so many people in the comments, especially people that are HIV negative, like to basically put the complete responsibility on the person that is HIV positive to be in complete control of their health and all these things. And I'm just like, baby, like your health, your sexual health is your responsibility. And I know that that's a tough pill to swallow. Trust me, I am HIV positive, but I mean it from a place of empowerment. If you take control of your sexual health, your life is going to be completely different. And I mean, maybe not a popular take, but that's the way that I feel about it.
No, I agree. We should all be, I mean, it's just, to me, it's common sense. Take care of your business, right, Nathaniel?
No, definitely. Agreed. I think that, also the conversation about sexuality and sexual health has not been normalized as much in our culture as it could be. And I think for years, especially since HIV has become a thing, Black cis communities have never thought it was a thing for them, and which removes part of the onus or the truth that this exists in your communities and that it's right there and it's not over there. It's literally right here. And Bianca, whether you were blacked out drunk or you actually consented to her or all those other things, you still did everything that you were supposed to do. You were living. And I think that a lot of times we figure out ways to necessarily say, oh, if I would have done this differently or if I would have done that differently. Yeah, at the end of the day, the more educated person in the room is the one that has the most power and the one who has the most information. And so because of that, they just had a dynamic that just did not suit you and it had nothing to do with you. And I think that is a scenario that exists so many times because we didn't have the tools to be able to have those conversations. And a lot of what I have learned about having conversations about sexual health and sexuality and gender fluidity and disclosure came after I was diagnosed. I literally did not have those tools prior to. And so that is really what informs a lot of the work that I do now, is because these tools are important. It's really just about having the tools, and that comes in forms of relationships and longevity and just how you love yourself, but also in just how you interact in dating and bringing like that health perspective into the conversation. Specifically because like in states like Texas and Louisiana, there are criminalization bills that says even if I go out on a date with you, that means I had intent to harm if I'm living with HIV and didn't tell you. And so, based on those auspices alone, that does put a lot of fear into people's hearts. But for me, I have leaned on the notion to say, like, when I put out my status and I ripped that Band-Aid off, I did do that for me. I did that for two reasons, so that I didn't have to disclose every single day and every moment with everyone that encountered me. But also, if there was ever anything to come back and to say anything about me living openly or being HIV positive, there's a very long record of me being out, and there would be nothing that anybody could use to come against me. And so it was also a level of protection for me to then just show up as that version of myself. But everyone doesn't have that same landscape or the freedom to do so just based on their certain circumstances. And so that's why I say it is based on what you have going on and what's safest for you. But in my opinion, what worked for me was amazing, and it may not necessarily work for everyone else.
Yeah, but by the way, doesn't it suck, Nathaniel, that you kind of have to lay that framework, because what if is a question that hangs over because of these ridiculous, out of date and zero scientifically backed HIV criminalization laws in this country. I really enjoyed that conversation with those two that we did a few weeks ago. Hey, thanks for joining us. That's going to do it for this Plus Talk. If you want more information, you can go to the website pluslifemedia.com. And remember to like, follow, and share. We're on all your favorite social platforms. We are at Plus Life Media. Until next time, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.